Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss the ways that Brexiteers are desperately fighting the momentum of public opinion as it turns against Brexit with each passing month at the moment. The two tactics used to try and convince people that there are benefits to Brexit, both of which are deceptive, and we'll look at the latest example, how Brexiteers talking about Brexit benefits and financial reforms when it's not entirely clear how beneficial they actually are for most of us, but it doesn't seem to have anything to do with Brexit. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So Brexiteers know that public opinion is turning against Brexit. They are desperate to show some benefits, but there are none. So when it comes to fighting this desperate rearguard action against the complete lack of Brexit benefits, set against the very obvious Brexit damage, Brexiteers tend to have two types of tactic. Actually, I suppose you could say three. You know, the third example being like Jacob Rees-Mogg trying to suggest, well, the British fish will be happy. But if I'm honest, I'm not entirely sure that everything that comes out of Jacob Rees-Mogg's mouth is a Brexit tactic as such. So in terms of the two usual tactics, the first one is saying that the benefits are being delayed because a thing hasn't been done. The reason we haven't seen the benefits, you see, is because the government haven't done this thing yet. Absolutely crucial. Wasn't enough just to leave the EU, you know. Wasn't it? I thought it was. No. We had to do the thing as well, you see. Oh, okay. So why haven't we done the thing then? It's been a few years now. We're getting a bit cold and hungry. Well, it's because the Tory government are all spineless wets and they're too afraid to do the thing, you see. All right. But weren't they the ones who went through with the hard Brexit? Yes. But although they went through with the hard Brexit, which caused all the damage, you know, that is it's so bad that I can't even deny it anymore. They're too cowardly to implement the other bit of Brexit, the absolutely essential bit of Brexit, which would release all the benefits. Because that makes sense. That the government went ahead with all the stuff that does the damage, but they're too afraid to do all the stuff that yields the benefits. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. But that is their argument. Now that we've left the EU, we need to do the thing. Leaving the EU was just the start. Leaving the single market and customs union was just the second bit of the start. We need to do the thing. Right, so yeah, you said about the thing. So what is the thing? Well, that depends on which Brexiteer you ask, because they all focus on a different thing. Now, the problem with this tactic for the Brexiteers used to be brilliant. But the problem now is that the Tories can be mad enough to implement it. And if they are mad enough to implement it, the public sees it for what it is. For a while, it was a very safe tactic. Oh, you had all the Brexiteers outside of the actual government, like Nigel Farage and co, boasting about these things that the government won't do. Because, you know, they thought the government wouldn't be insane enough to actually do any of them. So they could never be proven wrong. But then the Tories made Liz Truss their leader. So now they can't be sure anymore. The Brexiteers hailed her budget statement as the route to our sunlit uplands. Oh, at last, a proper Conservative budget, they said. Then the market crashed. There was a big loss of support for Brexit. And they all went, no, she did it wrong. She did it wrong, you see. The next example of this tactic on the table is the abolition, of course, of thousands of EU-era regulations. If the government is insane enough to do that, the same thing will happen. It will explode in their faces. There will be even more public loss of support for Brexit. Another one doing the rounds, of course, is leaving the Council of Europe so that we don't have to pay attention to the European Court of Human Rights. All of these things, which you have to do to see the Brexit benefits. It was apparently not enough to leave the EU, which was how we were going to unlock the benefits in 2016. Not enough to leave the single market and customs union, which is how we were going to unlock the benefits in 2019. No, now we have to do another thing, or even a whole series of other things, or we may as well not have left at all, apparently. And that is another way in which this tactic is problematic for the Brexiteers these days. The government either implement the thing or they do not. It's really that binary. If they implement it, it will go badly wrong, and the public will see the link between cause and effect. Impossible not to. It's that bad. But if the thing is not implemented, yes, Brexiteers can carry on convincing some people that this is the way we unlock the benefits, but if it's never implemented, the benefits never appear, and you have to fall back on that argument, well, we may as well never have left. So no matter how you view the argument, even Brexiteers end up explaining that we'd have been better off if we'd never left. Well, then why don't we go back then? Well, because they could just do the thing. Yeah, but they're not doing the thing, so why don't we just go back? Oh, I don't know. The second tactic is just to make benefits up, to say that these are benefits and just... They say, for example, the NHS did get the £350 million a week. People sort of know it's true, because how do you give the NHS more money and get a worse service? But it doesn't stop the minister saying it to the few who'll believe it. Or they talk about the vaccine benefit, the vaccine programme. Now, the public generally do believe this one, which is unfortunate. But because that's not an ongoing benefit in the public's mind, it's not really an argument for Brexit for the future. We had another recent one. South Korea has opened up its, you'll never believe this, its pork markets a little bit to Europe. The Tories are hailing it as a great move for Brexit Britain. What they don't tell you is that although it is true that South Korea has eased restrictions on the import of pork products from the UK, it did the same for EU countries at the same time. In other words, this is something South Korea have done, not the UK, and it didn't do it just for the UK, it did it for Europe. In other words, had we remained in the EU, it would have been exactly the same. But the Brexiteers are now forced into hailing everything good that happens as a Brexit benefit. Oh, is this thing, we couldn't have done that before. Whether it has anything to do with Brexit or not, and it almost never does. And you see a few of these as well. Things that are actually good news, but also exist for the EU. So they're not Brexit benefits. They're just things that happened, which happen to be good, which have nothing to do with Brexit. But Brexiteers will now argue that anything good which happens now is down to Brexit, and anything bad that happens is global issues. And the Brexiteers are attempting another con, or they did towards the end of last year, with this tactic as well, the City of London reforms. So the chair of a parliamentary group, the Treasury Select Committee, the new chair of it, who's a Conservative MP, also a very experienced banker, knows her stuff. And she has said that Jeremy Hunt's assertion that the reforms he announced at the end of last year, which were, he said, oh, these are only possible because of the freedoms we have acquired since Brexit. It turns out it's a lie. The Conservative in question, Harriet Baldwin, is reported to have said, well, not only are these reforms they're nothing really special. There are a few little measures. There's nothing major in it. But also, it's not a Brexit benefit. In fact, the main thrust of Hunt's so-called reforms were just measures that Labour introduced in the wake of the banking crash towards the end of their latest period in government. So basically, the very Europhile Labour government at the time, committed members of the EU, introduced measures which the Conservative government are now introducing, and the EU didn't bat an eyelid. It's like, oh, you want to do that thing? Yeah, don't bother us, we're not interested. So it's not exactly clear how this is a Brexit benefit if it is something that not only could we have done as EU members, but indeed actually did do. But it is just another example of this second tactic of hailing anything that the government does that they can spin as beneficial to the country or its people as a Brexit benefit. And the second tactic is more effective, because the problem with the first tactic is it either happens or it doesn't. If it happens, you won't see the benefit because the benefit is a lie. And if it doesn't happen, you still don't see the benefit because the thing hasn't been implemented, you see. The advantage of the second tactic is that something is being implemented and there is a benefit which you can show as a tangible benefit. The benefit may also be misleading, but it is a thing you can show people that sort of happened, even if it's not happening in the way the government claims it is, like the vaccine programme, for example. But it is a measure that the government's actually introducing. And because people don't know what the EU does and doesn't permit member states to do, they're actually reasonably likely to believe the government. They've no reason not to believe the government if they are minded to believe the government about anything when they make these benefits up. Especially, they're not likely to read an article in the Financial Times, as I did, pointing out this absolute bollocks. Mind you, even this deception about Brexit benefits is still only of limited value, because even after so many years since the banking crisis, nearly 15 years now, people are still quite wary about considering any benefits to our financial centres to be a benefit to them. You know, there's still a lot of mistrust of the banking sector. They saw the bankers making out like bandits and the taxpayer having to pay to fix the damage. What the people saw was taxpayer money having to fill up this big black financial hole. And in terms of retribution or otherwise punishment against the bankers, they saw one banker lose his knighthood. That was it. You know, so the government can easily persuade quite a lot of public that these measures are only possible with Brexit because people will not see any account that says otherwise. You know, it's due to the nature of our mainstream media that won't correct the government. But they will have a harder job convincing them that it's a benefit if people don't see that benefit in their own bank account. Saying, oh, it's all right benefiting the wealthy bankers, yeah? That's nice. How does it help me? Especially when those people are still suffering a very severe cost of living crisis, which is going to get more severe. You know, you can imagine people in 6 months' time when the government try and say, oh, yeah, but we introduced these reforms to the banking sector as a result of Brexit. And people just go, so how come I'm even poorer then? But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, the join button for memberships. And until next time, I'll see you later.